Start recording. What is going on, crew? Brian DeCosta, shreddedforlife.com. Here to get you shredded, keep you shredded. In today's video, we're going through a back workout, and I'm going to be answering a question about gaining strength while cutting. If you haven't been following lately on the channel, what I've been doing is essentially answering a question that was commented on the prior video as we have B-roll playing of a specific workout, usually from the prior day. That's what it is. In this case, you can always expand the description of the video and see the workout breakdown. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So last video, Wabil commented, can you get stronger while cutting? Yes, you can. And I'm going to take a back step. If you've been tuning in, you guys know I like to kind of just ramble and gather my thoughts. I don't really plan an answer. Maybe I should start doing that in the future. But I kind of just try to build an all-encompassing, like, overarching view, and I end up touching on a lot of the same principles and topics almost regardless of the question. But I think it's important for anyone who would just stumble upon the channel to get at least an idea of what my philosophy of things are. But let me just start by saying, so I answered the question, yes, you can do that. However, I'm now going to say something that I really want you guys to consider and internalize, especially my beginners out there. Like, there's a strong correlation with success in bodybuilding, or more or less any athletic feat, or really just any monumental achievement. Not that I'm saying becoming a bodybuilder is a monumental achievement. Perhaps it is for some people, but there's a correlation with how much boredom you're able to handle with success in getting to your goal. How bored are you willing to be? Ask yourself that question. I'm asking you right now. How bored are you willing to be? Especially as a natural athlete. If you're willing to go through the mundane day after day, month after month, year after year, and just hammer, just keep freaking hammering, you're going to get there. Why am I saying this, though? Why am I starting by saying this? I'm saying this because I think when I get questions like this, there's like potentially, I'm not saying this is you, Wabil, there's this like, I want everything now subtle undertone, or at least maybe I'm projecting that personally. I kind of don't think I am, just based on my last years of working with tons of people. It's almost this like, okay, I really want to lose fat, so I'm going to cut, but I also want to get stronger, like now. And maybe it's because this individual, again, Wabil, I'm not going to be channeling these comments towards you directly. I'm speaking generally. This individual, you know, they have this newfound motivation over the last month or the last 3 months. And, you know, with getting in better shape, or, you know, finally getting some routine with going to the gym or whatever type of training you like, you have this new sense of certainty and confidence, and, you know, you're seeing your outlook of the world change, and you're projecting forward what life could possibly be. It's all very exciting. When we go through a change like this, especially a change in our lives for the better, it becomes very exciting, and we want the progress to speed up. I think that's a natural human inclination. We want to see things move forward quickly. And that's great. However, I want to say, you know, just to play this forward as someone who has gone down this road before in my last 13 years of training, like, the wheels spin off of this bus after a while. And what I'm saying is, and there's many, we can go down quote rabbit holes for days. Here is one: chase 2 rabbits, catch none, right? This is very close to that kind of analogy here of you don't need to focus on gaining strength while you're in a fat loss phase. I'm going to assume your goal is cutting. That's the main goal. If the opposite was true, if your main goal is getting stronger, okay, we don't need to focus on cutting right now. This is all getting to a point where ideally we're focusing on one thing, one goal that we're optimizing for, with aesthetics, with performance, with our physical body. No, it's not saying we can't improve many different parameters. I'm just saying the way that our human meat suit works, the way our brain works, we'll be more effective, we'll mitigate anxiety by focusing on one thing. It will help us better make sense of the world and our position in it. It'll help us make sense of our day-to-day actions and how they coherently fit into a whole of achieving a goal, how my day-to-day actions are fitting into getting closer to my goal for this week, for this month. We start to muddy the waters when we throw in too many different aspiration goals and variables, okay? So what I would love to see, and this becomes more true for someone as their training age, their training experience increases. Someone who's a beginner, 0 to 2 years of training, because my channel is primarily gym training, bodybuilding centric, let's say, let's just say you've been consistent in the gym for 0 to 2 years, you're not going to be able to help but make progress in basically every avenue. Let's say you have a high body fat percentage, you're in the obese category or even morbidly obese category. Just by starting a gym routine, going to the gym 3 days a week, like, you're going to improve your body composition. You're going to get stronger. You're going to gain muscle mass. You're going to reduce your body fat percentage. It's just going to happen. If you take that same amount of work that this person is doing and you had a seasoned bodybuilder do that same amount of work, they'd probably regress, right? Not a hard concept to understand. This person who's super advanced is just accustomed to a higher level of training. They need to be more, it's a fine-tooth comb. They need to really be optimizing for their strength gains. They don't have the luxury, like personally me, I don't have the luxury, or any other person who's been training for a long time doesn't have the luxury of just, I'm going to enter a cutting phase, but I also want to hit a squat PR. It's just not, for simplicity's sake, it's not really a thing. It could maybe happen, but very, very much not likely. So I'd say, Wabil, if you're a beginner, regardless of whatever your training age is, optimize for one thing. So again, assuming that it's cutting, make sure that you're doing all the right things. You're eating in a caloric deficit. You're eating enough, not too little. Your diet's made up of 70 to 80% of whole nutritious foods. You don't have to be crazy diet Nazi on a cut. I'm a firm believer of that. However, you've got to be in a caloric deficit. Make sure that your caloric distribution and macro distribution throughout the day makes sense, and you're at least keeping it consistent. That'd be the most paramount in this instance, that you're being consistent. Probably not wise to be having 6 meals one day, 1 meal the next day. Like, keep it consistent. Have carbs around your workout before and after. And while you're in a cutting phase, because you have less nutrients, you have less for your body to work with. We need calories for many things. For our brain to function, brain takes about 30% of our calories. Organ function, just our NEAT, our non-exercise activity, thermogenesis, just basically going about the day as normal. And then we just have less energy, right? So for that reason, we're going to handle less training volume in the gym. You at maintenance level, or eating especially in a caloric surplus, eating more or less as many calories as you would like, you'll be able to handle more work in that instance because you have more energy to take in, help the muscles recover, and come back stronger. So training volume might have to decrease. Well, it will have to decrease eventually. You may not notice it really in the first month or so. A lot of people, and I can't cite a specific study, but I know that there is some data and some science to support this idea that in the early stages of entering a dieting phase, when you're giving your body less calories, you're eating in a caloric deficit, you can actually see strength and performance increases in that time frame. I've experienced this personally on a couple occasions in my life. And very loose explanation is because the body is becoming more efficient. You're signaling, so our body's always taking the data that we're giving it today to predict how we can better live in an easier way with less friction tomorrow. By giving our body less energy that it wants, we're signaling to our body energy is scarce, right? We've evolved over hundreds of thousands of years. Maybe we're in, sub-Saharan Africa. We can't find any freaking food. Sounds crazy, but like, we still have that blueprint today, even with online streaming in the metaverse. It still exists. So because we're signaling to our body that energy is scarce, it's going to take the energy that it is giving and be more efficient and effective at distributing and using that energy. We're not going to be packing on adipose tissue, extra fat. We're going to be really optimizing our recovery, making sure we're able to perform and move around. And a byproduct of this can be just better performance, better cardiovascular performance, better strength performance. Other byproduct of this would be higher stress, higher cortisol. Not the best muscle gain environment, but I digress. So yes, Wabil, at the end of the day, you can, but I would really love for you to adopt the mind state of how bored can I be? As in, there will be a time to gain. After your fat loss phase, in your fat loss phase, here's what you want to focus on. You just want to focus on being consistent in the gym, going hard in the gym, pushing yourself, pushing it close to failure towards the end of your workouts, pushing it to failure, eating in a coherent way, eating in a way that makes sense, and just being consistent with that, making sure the scale is dropping half a pound to a couple pounds per week. Fat loss will be more in the beginning, or let me rephrase, weight loss, likely fat loss too, will be greater in the beginning. A lot of people can lose, 4, 5, 6 pounds even in the first week or two, but then that'll kind of taper off as our body finds some level footing. And then get to a place where you're satisfied with. If you have a lot of fat to lose, fat loss phase is going to have to be longer, perhaps a year or 2 years or 3 years. Again, don't know your stats here. And then we'll reverse from there at the time that really you deem makes sense based on how you feel, how it looks in the mirror. Of course, it's always helpful to have the assistance of a coach like myself or someone else or an in-person trainer. But then from that point, we can really switch up. And then when we're transitioning into a gaining phase, we're looking to enter an environment that is perfect for gaining muscle and gaining strength. Gaining muscle and gaining strength, these curves pretty closely follow each other. To a certain point, you have to change your training in a specific way to optimize for strength. Lift heavy to gain strength is a general idea with strength gaining, but you can transition with your training programming first with your nutrition, eating in a caloric surplus at the time that makes sense. And then when your body is in that climate to really gain, you can optimize for that. And you can be in that gain phase for 6 months, a year, 2 years. It's really up to you. So it's a reason when clients come on to work with us and they join a training program, get a nutrition plan on our app, one of the first things I ask is, what's the most important goal to you now? Again, I would never, push someone else's goal to the side. I'm not saying here that, whatever you say, what is one thing you want to focus on? Because that's all you're going to get. Shut up and listen. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But again, like I've kind of said in the beginning, what's most important right now, we're going to optimize for that. We're going to make sure we're doing everything in our power to make sure we get to that goal. Now, we'll happily welcome any other positive side effects that come while optimizing for that goal. Like we're optimizing for cutting, some strength comes. Oh, that's nice. Dope. But that's just the best way to do things. Hope that makes sense, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Excuse me. New video coming on Monday. I'm going to be doing a giveaway in the next video. Core nutritional supplement stack round dose. And please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, enjoyed the channel and the video. Please send it to someone if you think they would like it. Don't be afraid to comment questions. I don't bite, I swear. See ya.